any theme, probably.
Yeah, it's very low magic, but there's not like a magic system at all. There is, but it's added on.
That's kind of what always is, like, maybe not want to do D&D or anything. Magic seems kind of just
it's over the top, man.
Yeah.
It's like Tolkien, how he said it. He's like, if you had wizards that, or no, I don't know if Tolkien said this or George R. R. Martin. He said, if you have wizards that could kill everybody, why would you have an army? Why wouldn't you just have wizards? And why would anybody fight? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this. Probably a little rusty, but okay. You ready?
Yeah, it's like Wheel of Time. How like the magic people just like destroy everything.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna grab something to drink real quick. Okay, so let me give you a little background about your guy. So you are a knight, and this game is set a few years after Robert's Rebellion. So the Mad King Aerys Targaryen was killed, and you fought on the side of Robert, and so you were knighted. You were just a common soldier. You're a small folk, no nobility. And so since that time, you've been wandering the land, looking for jobs where you could, trying to enter tournaments to gain glory and renown. And, it's been not as successful as you might hope. There's a relative peace in Westeros right now, so there's no real armies to join. So really you're just going day by day, sleeping under the hedges with not much money to your name. So you're currently in the Reach, which is in the sort of like the southwest north of Dorne. And it's a very prosperous land, and it's huge, and it's the center of where chivalry is in Westeros. And you are close to the Dornish Marches, which are a group of mountain ranges that separate the rest of the kingdom from Dorne. And so currently you've been in the Ashford area, which is where you fought with Robert against the Mad King Aerys Targaryen. And you've been using that pretty much as a central base. And probably 2 days away, there's a small hamlet. You hear rumors that the bandits have been really bad in this particular area, and the local lord that currently is ruling this area, it's House Cloverwood, and the lord is Mikhail Cloverwood, and there's rumors that he's a kinslayer and that he is a drunkard and has let his lands fall into ruin. And so this is a hamlet of his on the southern end of his domain, and you can tell from the rumors that it's in pretty bad repair, and there's not much security for these people. And so the rumor is that there's bandits and that people are looking for help. And so on that information, you've traveled to Firemarch, which is the name of this place, and you come in from the north, and you can tell that you immediately see that there's buildings that are burnt and general destruction. Fences are knocked over, and you smell the smoke coming from pyres, which you can't tell if it's human remains or animals or what, but you can smell the stench in the air as you ride up. There's just a couple people in the streets, mostly trying to repair broken, this or that, fences and stalls and that sort of thing. And when you ride into town, they kind of look at you and disappear into their homes. And so There's probably about a dozen buildings along the side of this small road, and so you can see on one of them is a wooden sign that hangs out, and obviously people are mostly illiterate, so you can just see that the sign is a picture of a 5-leafed clover, and that's the sigil you assume of House Cloverwood. And so there's no other, there's not an inn, there's nothing like that whatsoever. So what do you do?
So I have like my horse with me, or
Yep, you've got your horse, you've got a Rouncy, and you have your armor, your shield, everything. So yeah, you don't have very much money. You have maybe 10 silver with you, but.
So I'm walking into the town, and is there anyone at all that I can talk to? I'm kind of looking through the windows, seeing if anybody's maybe paying more attention than they should, or even if there's like a child that maybe has never seen like a hedge knight before and is kind of interested. I don't want to be that creepy guy with candy, but come here.
As soon as you started into town, everybody went and hid, pulled the shutters, and there's nobody out in the streets whatsoever.
All right, I'm just gonna continue on into town and see what I can find.
Okay. You walk into town, and you can see people peeking out of their windows, looking at you, but then as soon as you look back in their direction, they pull the blinds, and they're gone. So eventually, you see someone peek out of the building with the sign, and it's a man dressed in chain mail armor, and he's got a sword on his hip, and he walks out, and he's got a jerkin with the Cloverwood heraldry on it, and he walks directly up to you, puts his hand in the air, his hands on his hip, or his other hands on his sword hilt, and he basically says, "Who are you? And what do you want in Firemarch?"
I would kind of introduce myself. I say, my name is Joyce of House whatever.
You don't have a house.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Joyce the hedge knight.
Yeah, he's like, "You're a knight, a hedge knight."
I'm not going to be the onion knight. I'm just going to be called the onion, and I'm like really sarcastic, like the news site.
Yeah.
They call it the onion.
Just articles about Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
The Kim Jong-un thinks are real.
I'm the onion. Why the fuck do you think I'm here? I'm here for adventure. So he would kind of try to play it cool because he realizes that if there's one, there's probably lots more. He's by himself, and he's just going to say that he heard the rumors and he's here to help House Cloverwood any way he can. He wants to offer his services.
He's like, just like a hedge knight looking for money. He's like, "How do I know that you're not a bandit yourself? Hedge knights tend to work both sides these days. Times are lean for fighting men."
Said, "Not even. I don't need money. Just a roof over my head, and perhaps something warm to eat."
So he shakes his head, and he's like, "Well, come inside, and we'll talk."
All right. So he dismounts and gives his horse the old "easy boy."
There's a hitching post if you want to.
Hitches him to the post and walks on down the hall.
All right, so you enter the room, and it's very unimpressive. It's simply looks like probably 2 rooms, and the front room is filled with 3 cells, and they're in pretty bad shape. They probably would keep someone in, but if someone really wanted to get out, it might be difficult. The back room looks just like a place to sleep, and there's a piss pot in there and whatnot. And so there's a small desk that he sits at, and you notice immediately there's 2 people in the cells. One of them is looks like maybe 12-year-old boy, and he's like raggedy, he doesn't have a shirt on, his pants are ripped, and just looks very, dirty and brown teeth and that sort of thing. And the other guy doesn't look too much better, but he's older. He's probably in his 30s, something like that. Just rail skin, thin. And they both look at you, with interest as you walk in. The guard or whoever he is doesn't seem to pay them any mind whatsoever. He waves you to sit down in front of him, and he asks you, so where did you hear about the notice?
He just says, word travels. He obviously doesn't know anything about the notice, right? Like, I don't know what the notice is.
Well, you heard. I guess I meant to say, where did you hear about the bandits, right?
Oh, he just, he says that he's wondering about, and word travels fast, and he's looking to make a name for himself, and he's not one to shy away from danger. He's one to move towards it.
He nods.
His name is Carlo.
The back of the tavern.
Women, angels, demons.
Let's see. Okay.
He's pretty vague about where he hears it. Yeah.
He's like, all right, fine. And he's about to say something, and somebody yells something from outside, and he's like, sighs and gets like irritated and walks out. He's like, wait here. And he walks out of the room and to the outside. And when he does that, the town person and the two people look at you and they're like look at each other and look back at you, and they look very on edge.
So he kind of turns to him and says, "How'd you end up on the wrong side of those bars?"
The young boy is like, "Well, when you've got to beg, it's not taken too kindly around here." He's like, "But I hear you're here for the bandits," and he just starts laughing and shaking his head.
He says, "Go on."
He's like, "Well, I have a problem here. Number one, I'm in the cell. Number two, I have no money to feed myself. So if you could help me out with one or both of those, I can give you a little help. But I can tell you for sure that the constable is not going to help you."
He says, how do I know I can trust you? Is there any sort of like a perception or anything I can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's roll your awareness. It would be awareness empathy, but you don't have empathy, so you're just going to roll 3d6.
3d6, keep 3?
Yeah, so just 3d6. You don't need to do the keep if you're keeping roll.
All right.
So you cannot get a sense of if he's telling the truth or not. It's just probably his age, and you're not familiar with children and beggars, so you're not able to get a sense if he's actually telling the truth or not. And he sticks out his hand, and he's like, "The only way you'll know is if you let me out of here."
He says, or both. And how much money does he have?
You have 10 silver.
How much? Can I just give him a silver and say, "Hey, there'll be more as long as you don't stab me in the back"?
You could.
Let's give him 1 silver.
So you place a silver into his hand, and he clutches it. And
say, "There's more where that came from. I just don't want to feel your steel in my kidney."
He's like, "I have no weapons." And he takes the coin and he stashes it somewhere, even though he doesn't have much clothes on. But it's gone out of his hand.
This
yeah, right.
Has come with me through Vietnam.
He starts talking like Christopher Walken.
Hunk of metal up my ass.
Yeah. And so he's like, "Well, I'll tell you this much. The constable's not going to want you to find them, and that's on purpose. and the townsperson's just like in the corner cowering as the waif is speaking. And he's like, and I'll tell you the rest once you get me out of this cell. But hurry, because we don't have much time.
Okay. I'm just going to roll to get this cat out of the cell.
Okay, so let's roll. You can roll either.
If he starts any trouble.
You're much bigger than him, and he is definitely unarmed as far as you can tell. So you can do either 1 of 2 rolls. You can do either. You could do thievery or strength. So, well, athletics. So either you're gonna want you're gonna want to do athletics now.
46.
Yep, 46.
So is there like a difficulty, like
I keep it. Yeah, there is. A 9 is average. So
okay.
I'm just
kind of give you guidelines.
Yeah, I'm kind of like thinking. Oh, okay.
Oh, not bad.
So you just reach out and you grab the bars and you just yank the damn thing off the cell, and you just sit, and it doesn't actually make very much noise either somehow. And so you sit the gate like next to it, and the young boy steps out, and he's obviously impressed. He's like, you should try to flee. He's like, the constable is in league with the bandits. It's one of the reasons why we have so many problems here, and it's why I was arrested. And he's like, if I can show you where the camp is, but you need to get me out of town.
He says, you probably, you're a beggar. You probably know the streets better than I do. I just got here. He says, why don't you lead the way? But one wrong move, I'm spilling your blood all over these streets.
He shrugs again, and he's like, all right. And he steps and looks out both ways, and then he kind of leans back inside, and he's like, the constable's coming back. He's walking this way. What should we do?
So I ripped this thing off the hinges, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to do is, do I have a belt, right?
Sure.
I want to give this urchin my belt and put him back in the cell, and put the cell right where it is, and say, take this belt. I'm gonna get the constable right by these bars, and you throttle him.
Okay. Let's roll. He's like, I don't know that I'm going to be strong enough to do that, but I'll give it a try, I guess. Okay. So you take off your belt and you give it to the 12-year-old boy, and he gets back in the cell, and he kind of hides it behind his back. And he looks unassuming as he's sitting there, so you can't tell. And you put the gate back up as best you can. And so, within a few moments, the constable walks back in, shaking his head, and he's like, "Apologies about that little brush fire out there from the pyres. These people are useless." And he waits for you to sit back down because you're sitting up.
And he goes, yeah, more than they're useless. This little punk in here is trying to get, what's he here for? Is he a beggar? He's trying to get my silver. He called my mom every name in the book.
He laughs, and he's like, yeah, he's a real nuisance, but he'll be on the end of a noose come tomorrow. And he just kind of chuckles.
He said he had something of yours, too, in there. He said he stole something from your office.
He's like, is that a fact? And let's roll. You need to roll deception.
Okay.
Now,
probably not very good.
Now, you're not. So you have 2. So if you want to try to make it better, you can spend a destiny point. And if you spend a destiny point, you can roll 3 and keep 2. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay. I'm feeling my luck. Let's spend a destiny point.
Okay.
Are you keeping track of this, or should I just click on mine?
I'm keeping track of it. It's fine.
Okay. So this is trying to get him to approach the.
Yeah, you're trying to lie to him and get him to believe you.
Trying to get him to approach the jail cell.
Yep.
So okay. So roll 3, keep 2.
Yep.
Yeah, still probably bad luck. Whoops.
Yeah, you didn't do it. There you go.
Ah.
So you say that, and he's like, I don't think so. He's not able to get out of there, and I'm never close enough to him for him to touch anything on my body. He's like, what's going on here? And he puts his hand on his hip again, and he's like, I think it's time for you to leave, friend.
So I'm gonna wink to the kid and be like this, and start to turn to leave.
Okay.
And then, once I kind of have Constable here, and the kid kind of behind him, I'm going to turn and hopefully go for him.
So you're just kind of like turning away and then punching him, or what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna draw my sword and just take a stab at his midsection.
Okay.
And I'm hoping the kid's gonna come from behind and help me out a little bit.
Okay.
Here.
So you turn away, and as you're walking out, the dude's following you, and you draw your sword, and so we'll start combat. So let me.
I'm playing fast and loose this game.
No, that's fine. Let me look at one thing. Sorry.
I'm bringing the action.
Okay, so we're going to do initiative. And so you need to roll your agility. And your agility is 2, and then you have -2 to that for your armor.
That's shitty.
Mm-hmm. Three. All right, so he goes first. So you turn and draw your weapon, and then his turn is going to be drawing his weapon and attacking you. So as you turn, you draw your weapon for free. You start to turn, but before you can actually engage him, he draws his weapon and then takes a swing at you. Okay, so he So 7. So you don't have your shield with you, right? You wouldn't be bringing your shield in here.
Yeah, it's probably on a horse.
So so your defense is 7, right? So the way you do this is, actually your defense is 9. Oh no, I'm in the wrong tab. Okay, your defense is 3, or 7. So he hits you for 1 degree of success, and he does 4 damage, and so that'd be 4 times 1. And you're wearing a breastplate, which is armor rating of 5. So basically, he swings and he smashes against your armor, but it doesn't get through. And so it's your turn.
So at this point, he spins around and kind of pulls the sword out, catches, and so by the time he gets the thing out, he gets smashed. He gets kind of staggered back. He's like, a little help here, kid. So he's going to, I don't know what any of the maneuvers are.
Yeah. So probably you're standing toe-to-toe, aim and attack is what I would do. So
yeah, I was taking just a swing at the guy.
Yep. So you roll 6, keep 4.
Come on, baby. Yeah.
18. Okay, so he has, we'll say he has, he's wearing chainmail. He would probably have combat defense. Where is it? Okay, so he's not great on the combat defense. So he has 5. So you hit For 13, that is at least, that's a degree of success 3. So 3 times, what's your damage? 5, so 15 minus 5 equals 10. So basically he hits you, you stagger back, and then you come with like an overhand chop, and it hits him straight down the face, and just like, oh, it just like peels open, and he just kind of falls back in a bloody heap over the table, and the townsperson is like screaming. He's like, oh my god, and the kid like pushes the door over on top of him, and he's like, let's get out of here.
And he's gonna say, hey, can you vouch for this guy here? Does he double him?
He like looks at him, and he's like, this guy beats his wife.
Sorry about your luck, dude. Let's go.
All right. So you both run out of the constable's building, and your horse is sitting there. He hasn't messed with it as far as you can tell, so your shield's still hanging there. And he's like, he starts pointing south. He's like, that way, that way, that way. He's like, there's 3 more guards in town. All right.
Let's get up, get moving.
All right, so you climb into the saddle, pull the waif up with you, and you take off down the road.
My boy lover.
Your boy lover. All right. Okay, so so the day is getting long, and you have been going for a while and not heard or seen anyone as you're going, and so it looks like you've made it away at least, but it's getting pretty late, and the boy's like points up to this kind of obscure, image you can't really see because it's really pretty dark, and it looks like maybe it's like mountains, and he's like, yeah, the bandit camp's up there. He's like, I wouldn't go at this time of day. It's dangerous, and I don't really know the way up there. I just know that they're up there somewhere. So I would suggest we try to camp somewhere.
Okay.
So you can either camp or you can just push on.
I'd probably go ahead and camp, and I would say probably on that trip he would have some time to talk to the kid, right?
Yep. Yeah, we can talk whatever you want to.
Yeah, so I'd try to get some more information. How the constable is involved, how House Cloverwood is involved. Are they like getting a kickback from the bandits? He says, are they getting some sort of kickback from them?
The boy's like, I don't know about House Cloverwood themselves. He's like, I don't see any nobles in this town, only the guards. And all the guards are definitely getting a kickback. But otherwise, I don't really know about any of the actual nobility. We're far beneath their gaze here in Firemarch.
Is there like a knowledge skill, like a knowledge lore?
There is knowledge, yes. Mm-hmm.
That I can see, like, do I know anything about House Cloverwood? So I want to say, like,
yep.
Well, is it like them to let things go to shit, or is it like Theoden King, that
right?
All of a sudden something happened.
So your knowledge is 2.
Okay, I'll roll it. Why not?
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt anything.
Probably not.
Yeah, you don't know much about House Cloverwood other than they are pledged to House Ashford, which is the area that you're from. Mm-hmm. But you don't know really anything about them other than they don't have a great reputation, but in specifics, you don't know anything.
Okay, so he just kind of nods to the kid. He's like, it's too bad they let everything go to hell. What are the citizenry? What have they done about it?
Mostly, we've just been hiding, and a lot of people have fled north to Northmarch, which is the seat of House Cloverwood. It's like a day away. It's castle and all that stuff. A lot of people have fled up there or fled further to Ashford or other parts of the Reach. A lot of people have been killed down here, and we've had to leave our homes and leave our fields unsowed. So nobody's fighting back.
Somberly nods and doesn't say a lot more. He says, I guess most of the veterans from the rebellion, they went with their families. Any of them hiding out in town we could talk to?
In Firemarch, there is a man that lives outside of Firemarch a ways, but the bandits have killed his family, and he is not in hiding necessarily, but I think he's pretty somber and hasn't left his farmstead in over a year. His name is Hamish. He was a knight, they say.
He says revenge can be a powerful motivator.
He's like, everyone liked him. I liked him. He was a nice, jovial man, but his wife and child were killed, and I haven't seen him since.
He says, he says, you got a name, kid?
Yes, my name is Pate.
Hate?
Pate, P-A-T-E.
Pate?
Yes, I'm just a child of Firemarch.
He says, you've been a good ally so far. I don't have any reason not to trust you. Let's go ahead and camp, and if the both of us are going to make a name for ourselves in this region, wine and women await. But we can't do it alone, Pate. We might have to talk to this Hamish fellow. So he'll go ahead and make a camp, I guess.
Okay.
He'll find someplace suitably hidden.
Yeah.
Probably not make a fire.
Okay. So you go off the road a ways and find the brush. You're very experienced of sleeping outside, obviously, as a hedge knight, and you don't make a fire. But this is pretty far south in Westeros, and it's summer, and so it's not that cold, and it's not a problem. And Pate tells you that Hamish lives actually to the west, and it's not particularly on the way towards the bandits. And you will have to double back somewhat towards the village to get to where he thinks he lives. He lives kind of outside of town, and so it's up to you if you want to go find him or if you want to press on in the morning. So far, you've not heard any horses or anything like that indicate there's anyone nearby. But you're pretty far from the road right now. You wouldn't necessarily hear them unless they're ungodly loud.
Again, he says, taking that constable out by surprise is one thing, and we should consider ourselves lucky. But going after an entire camp of bandits, that's something else. We need somebody who knows the region, and we need somebody that is more motivated. So let's go after Hamish, see if he's interested in vengeance on these bandits.
Okay, he's like, I'll take you there. And so if you're done for the rest of the night, we can press on. Screen swipe. Okay, the next day you wake up before dawn. The dew is cold on the ground, and you can barely see the sun in the sky. And Pate is already awake, and he's like, just should ask you, do you have any food? I haven't eaten in several days, and the excitement of yesterday, I forgot to ask.
And I guess he'll share some of his food.
Okay, you have some dried meat with you, and it's not easily come by. I mean, you already gave him a silver, but you share your food, and since that all, I say that the mother blesses you by giving your destiny point back by being kind.
Is that like a mechanic, or is that just something?
No, I mean, usually at the end of a scene or end of a session, you give them back, but whatever. So he's like, okay, we should probably go off the trail back. And so he starts to lead you where he thinks this guy lives. You go for probably 3 or 4 hours, and you're cutting across the fields and taking small trails, hunting trails, and that sort of thing. And you're in a big wooded. You finally come to a big wooded area, or it's like smaller groves of trees that you're passing, and then going back out into fields and that sort of thing. And you hear something in the distance that sounds like horses, and you can't see them yet, but you can definitely tell that there's multiple riders, and they sound like they're getting closer.
Says, Pate, you hear that?
He nods. He's like, I do hear it. He's like, they could be searching all these roads, and there's a road that goes west not too far from here, so I don't know if that's the way they're coming, but it is not normal for riders like this to be riding around.
Okay, is there any way to go off the road and kind of lay low, let them pass?
You are pretty much off the road, but we can roll stealth and see if they see you or not.
Okay.
And so your stealth is 2.
Fuck. This guy's a level 1 character.
He's a former NPC, so. So you hop off your horse and try to get into a grove of trees, and as soon as you do that, you see them just turn straight for you, and they're just riding. They're probably 200 yards away. So you did not successfully hide from them, but you still have time to do something.
He says, no time to take a shower. They must have smelled us.
And he's like, what do we do? What do we do?
So Pate's on the back of my horse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does Joyce have any skill in like mounted combat or anything like that?
He has animal handling 3 and ride 1. So he's able to ride in way. Mounted combat, your horse is a war horse, so you wouldn't take any negatives if you were in mounted combat. There's no other really skill for that besides animal handling and ride, but that's a little different. Doesn't really correlate, but yeah, you can fight on your horse if you want, or you could ride away if you wanted. You see that there are 3 of them.
So Pate still has my belt, right?
He probably gave it back to you.
Well, I take it off again.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, you're going to hate this, Pate, but I'm going to tie your hands up with this belt.
He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why?
If anybody asks, you escaped from the constable, I'm bringing you back.
Pate rolls his eyes. Pate rolls his eyes, and he's like, you didn't do a very good job lying to the constable the first time. How are you going to lie to these guys?
He says, aren't you a street urchin? Why don't you help me? Sell it.
Me? He's like, they're not going to believe anything I say.
Just look pathetic enough. Maybe we can get a sympathy vote.
He can give you an assist.
Okay.
I'll give you a +2 on your roll, because he probably has 4 deception.
All right. So he's all bound up, because I know. I mean, there's 3 of them. I probably can't outride him. So he just tries to look nonchalant, like has nothing to hide.
Okay, so they ride up on you, and they all have their weapons already drawn. And one of them screams, and he's like, in the name of Lord McCall, I order you off your horse.
Lord McCall? Is this something I should know?
No, not necessarily. He's just the Lord of House Cloverwood.
He said, off of our horse? Okay. He said, I can get off the horse. This lad here, he's a little bound up. He's not going to be able to get off.
One of the guys rides up and kind of like puts his horse in between you and your horse if you don't try to resist.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of blocks you off, and he reaches over and grabs Pate and just like pulls him off roughly, and he thuds against the ground.
Hey, easy with the. He says, "Easy with the cargo. I'm hoping to get a bounty for that."
He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "This urchin fled from the jail with someone who killed the constable." He's like, "You look like a fighting man."
A fighting man, I am not. More of a ladies' man.
He's like, "Oh, really? Is that why you're wearing a breastplate?"
I should have altered his stats and make him more roguish. That's how this is turning out to be.
Yeah, well, you had an opportunity to run, but he kind of grins and like kicks Pate a little bit. Pate goes face down into the dirt, and
he says, "Tell him how I found you."
Pate is kind of delirious, and he's like, "Well," he's like, "I don't know. Someone came in and just attacked him, and then I told him the way to get out of here, and he took me out. But this fellow caught up to us while we were camping, and killed that fellow, and took me." So
he says that's right. He starts to pull out his sword, and he thinks better of it, right? And he goes, "Oh, hey," but they can see like bits of hair on his blade.
Yeah, and
so I'm trying to sell this thing. Give me some bonuses.
You give me a better story than that. You got to give me he's the one who told the story, not you. You give your story. What else? What happened? How did you find them? That's what he asks.
He says he was coming into town. He says, there's not enough to eat around here. I'm coming in town hoping to join up with you guys, actually. And I come across a campfire last night, and I went in there. I killed this boy's master, and I ate his food, and I took this boy prisoner.
And he's like, "Why did you kill him?"
Why not?
Okay, I'll give you +1, plus this +2, so you have +3. So 2d6 +3.
Oh, God. Hey, he rolled 6s.
God, you're rolling awful. You could spend a destiny point to add a die if you wanted.
Let's do it.
Okay, so just roll 1d6. Okay, 10 will do it. So the guys look at you suspiciously, and they're like, "Fine." They're like, "We're taking him back, but you can go do what you want." And so they start loading up Pate onto their horses. And so, what do you do?
He says, "Go do what I want. I was heading into town looking for work."
He's like, "Well, then come with us and we'll talk about it. We have an opening." And they start kind of laughing.
He kind of acts like he doesn't know what you're talking about. He's like, "Okay." He hops up on his horse.
Okay.
And when nobody's winking, he gives Pate a nod.
Pate's like rolling his eyes and trying to see. He doesn't do it openly, but
when the time is right, shoot the lightsaber out of your head, and I will catch you.
Pate, aka R2D2.
Yeah.
All right, so you ride back into town.
A little bit derailed from finding Hamish.
Yeah. So you head back into town, and so they're taking you back towards the jail.
Hang on 1 second.
Sure.
One of those storm alert things is coming across the.
That's fine.
TV. It's one of those Amber Alerts.
Oh, really? Yeah, they sound exactly like storm alerts on my phone too.
Well, they like for some reason, I guess the way our sound system set up, like if our TV's turned off and stuff, it'll break through like the receiver and like it'll like sometimes it'll come on in the middle of the night. It doesn't happen very often, but
Interesting. All right, so you're riding back into town and they're taking you back to the jail. What are you gonna do?
So I obviously want to kind of situate myself kind of behind the other three. I'm looking for any sort of opening, anything where I could maybe take one of them out easily.
Well,
or, do something like that.
They don't seem to be concerned about you. You could ride up behind one of them and attack him. You would get bonuses for doing so. So that's not a problem.
Okay, trying to think here. All right. Hey, what the hell? This is a game session. Initial game session.
Or, I mean, you could flee and leave Pate behind. You know basically where the base of the mountain is. He's already shown you that.
I can't leave Pate behind. It's my Pate. I've invested in him. I give him my food.
And a silver, so yeah. He's an investment.
So I think it'd make good cinema to kind of make small talk with him.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I just have my sword. I don't have a dagger or anything, do I?
You could have a dagger, sure.
Probably anything like that.
Yeah, you can have a dagger.
So I want to mosey up along with the horse that has Pate.
Okay.
And I would say tell you what, yeah, I heard the town up ahead is pretty run down. Any good taverns? Anywhere I can find a woman for the night?
He's like, well, there's no taverns, unfortunately, but we just basically take whatever women we want. To be honest, we can point you to the good worn-in ones, and he just kind of laughs.
He says, I prefer my woman with teeth.
He's like, well, some have teeth, some don't.
And he's trying to get him to laugh and be distracted.
Yeah, he's laughing.
He says, in what situations when you prefer them to not have teeth? I can think of one.
He's like, me too, and he starts laughing.
So at that point, I take my dagger out and just shiv him in the lung.
Okay, let's roll. I'm not gonna roll fighting on that. Let's roll.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
Okay, we can roll fighting. That's fine. So just roll 46.
Survival, I guess I'm good. Is he fighting?
Yeah, 46.
46.
Mm-hmm.
You get no bonuses or anything.
You don't have you don't have you have long blades and
surprise.
Well, how about you do this? Roll stealth first.
Okay.
And then if you pass that, I'll give you a bonus.
All right.
Okay, you get 2d6 to roll it again. Just d6 again.
And I guess I don't have anything else I could use.
Well, you rolled a 1d6, so roll another 1d6.
Oops. So 5.
That's not good. I'll give you just a solid +1 on your roll, but you're rolling 46. It's pretty good, so. So basically he's sitting there laughing, and you just kind of jab your knife right in his throat, and he grabs it as is
bubbling out.
Yeah, blood's just bubbling out, and he kind of Pate comes out of his from where he had him sitting in front of him, and he just kind of falls off, and Pate's just with his arms, he's just wobbling in the saddle, trying not to fall.
He's ever learned to ride, Pate?
Pate's not with my arms behind my back, and while you guys are talking, the other guys are drawing their swords.
Is there a way to like just flip my dagger and cut him loose?
Yeah, you can cut him loose.
So he cuts him loose and he says, "There's no time like the present. Get out of here."
All right, so he kicks the horse, and he's awkwardly riding to the south. And he's going very slow because he obviously does not know how to ride a horse. And so the dudes are about to attack you, so what are you going to do?
Wheel my horse around. Take my...
So you're going to engage them?
Like, how would you be able to outrun something? Like, is there a way to outrun somebody, or...
I would do contested animal handling rolls.
Okay, and what's the terrain like around here?
Well, there's a road, so you'd be on a road unless you chose not to be.
It's a road. I can maybe go off, and like, is he a good rider?
Yeah, he's actually pretty good. I think he's got. So he would roll 3. He'd roll 4 dice and keep 3.
Okay,
Let's
do this. I mean, I want to gauge him, but I want to try to use tactics to try to isolate one at a time. So,
okay,
roll my horse kind of away from Pate, but not all the way, just kind of, at a slanting angle.
Okay.
And try to take off to try to lengthen them out so I don't have to take them both on at the same time.
Okay, roll warfare.
Oh, I think I'm good at that.
I think you got 3.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, this is a very narrative system.
Yeah. Okay, so you're able to, you take your horse and kind of circle around to put them kind of in a line, right? Mm-hmm. So there's just one's blocked from you while one is in range where you can attack. So he'll have to move around to get to you. It'll take a full turn for him.
Okay.
Okay. So while you did that, we're going to roll initiative. Okay. So roll your agility, which is amazing.
Oh, not bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, crap. Okay, well, so you have -2 and they have -3. So it's 7 to 6. So they're going to go first. So the dude in front of you.
No, I added in my -2.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, perfect. So you're going to go first. So he, so it's 8 to 7. So basically he is, kind of confused about how you moved around on him, and they're like cussing and trying to turn around, and it's kind of chaos, and it leaves you time to go.
All right. So I do my what?
Well, if you're gonna
5D keep 4.
Yeah. Because you need to draw your weapon since you had your dagger out. So
okay.
That would be your other action. In this case, usually I wouldn't do that, but you already had the other weapon out, so.
All right, so attack, or can I not attack? I just need to move towards him.
No, you can attack. You're in range of this guy.
So I switch out my dagger, pull out my long sword, go at this guy, try to ride across him and take a slash at him. So is that 5D keep 4?
I think so. Yep.
Hey.
All right. So that's good enough. So you ride by him and you swing, and you basically take his right arm off at the shoulder, and it's such a bad wound that he just starts bleeding out like everywhere, and he like falls forward and just like basically is stuck on a saddle into the horse's neck and doesn't move again in a couple seconds while the other guy's like trying to get around him. And so the other guy, because of where you placed yourself, now moves around the other horse, like he pulls his horse around and comes at you, but he doesn't have time to actually get to you in this turn, so you're going to be able to attack before him.
All right. So you can't get to me?
He's in range of you, but he can't attack. He got towards you, but he can't attack this round.
I could probably just do another quick
Yep.
attack, and then.
And you can aim this time too. So
Yeah.
so
I'll,
6.
So it's a boost die, or.
Yeah, 6. Roll 6. Keep 4.
6d4. Keep 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay, so this guy comes around, and boy, he probably wishes he shouldn't, because your sword just takes him off at the head. And so
I'm going to wheel my horse around.
Yep.
Shout back to Pate, are you okay?
Pate's just kind of like, you see him, he's kind of like, he's fallen off his horse, and his foot's caught in the what do you call him, the stirrup, and he's just like, no.
So he says, I was hoping to send one of them back to town to tell them about Joyce the Terrifying.
He's like,
but,
he's like, all these people that are watching from their windows can probably tell him that.
So he kind of, let's see, he's going to just go, obviously help Pate up onto the horse, and says, so now you've taken my meat, you've taken my silver, and now I've given you a new horse.
Pate's like, well, I can't ride, obviously.
He says, there'll be time to learn that. He says, every knight needs a squire. What do you say? You come with me for the rest of the time after this is all sorted out. Maybe we'll make a name for ourselves.
Pate, like, raises his eyebrows, and he's like, really? A squire? He's like,
sounds good to me.
He's like, yeah, sure. It's better than living here and being hungry all the time.
All right. And Joyce takes his blade out and wipes it across his leg. Sheaths it. Says, do we still have time to get the hamishes, or do we need to...
He's like, well, I mean, there's no other constables in town. I don't know what we'd be running from at this point. It'll take days if they even do send anyone from Northmarch. He's like, I can't imagine what we're afraid of besides bandits at this point.
All right. Says, onward.
Okay. So he leads you back towards the woods. And so you're coming through small little hunting trails and whatnot, and you see a cabin that's in a small clearing, just a simple place. You see like firewood outside and chopping block and a small little like barnish area, and he's like, I think this is it.
Is his name Joyce or Foyce?
Joyce. It's a J. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the font.
So go up this little thatched hamlet here.
Okay.
And he's doing his best to look non-threatening.
So as you ride forward, there's a dong, and an arrow gets stuck like 5 feet away from you in a tree. And you see this very burly-looking fellow with a thick beard, who's probably in his early 40s, maybe late 30s, with wild hair. And hold on, let me pull a picture of him for you. This picture would be...
Oh, you actually had him. So if I didn't ask about that, I wouldn't have found him?
That was totally unscripted. I had no idea you would do that. No. So
now I'm getting the Amber Alert here. Black Ford Ranger.
This is him like 10 years into the future, probably.
Nice.
So, and he calls out in a really gruff voice, and he's like, I'm not much of an archer, so I was trying to hit you. So what do you want?
And his hands up.
And like in the chopping block is a big axe.
He says, I mean no harm. I mean you no harm. Put away your weapons, what does it say?
He's like, get to talking.
He says, I'm here to help clean up this town. I'm sorry about your family. What was it? Was it the bandits that killed him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He says, my boy Pate here told me about your family, Hamish. I'm so sorry. I know that you're well respected in town, and I'm here to make things right. And I'm here to make the bandits pay.
Roll persuasion, but I'm gonna give you like an extra die because A, you know about it, and B, he notices Pate. He knows who he is. So go ahead and roll like let's just do 3K3. Okay. He narrows his eyes at you. He's not really sure what to think necessarily, but he lowers his bow and he's like, "All right." He's like, "Come forward. I'll give you some of my meat and my bread, and maybe my axe." And so he goes and grabs the axe off the chopping block, and he just walks inside.
All right, Joyce swings off his horse, and could he tell that the two know each other?
He didn't say anything about it.
Okay. So he nods to Pate and says, "I have your back if you have mine."
Pate's like, "If he wants to kill us, we're both dead, so I wouldn't even worry about it."
He says, "You only live once." And he heads on into Hamish's hamlet.
Okay. So you walk in, and it's like extremely low, especially for that guy, because you could tell he was very tall. So you have to bend over to get inside, and then it kind of opens up as you walk through, but it's one room with a chimney cut up through the ceiling and made of stone. And there's a fireplace there with a wood burning stove, and he's got looks like about 12 actually rabbits hanging there curing. One's on the spit, and he grabs that one and pulls it off and tosses it to you, and takes another one and just like crams it on, puts it over the fire, and he like sits down with a grunt and just tosses his axe next to him. He looks very unthreatening, except that he's humongous. And he looks over at you and he's like, "So you've come to help Firemarch, have you?" And he like shakes his head and he's like, "That's tough to do when the law is the bandits and the bandits is the law."
So Joyce takes his rabbit, rips it in two, tosses half of it to Pate, and Pate probably just starts going to town on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him more than half. I'm trying to build loyalty here.
Okay.
I'll give him, and I'll say, Pate, be sure to keep the foot, the toe.
So Hamish actually does laugh at that. He thinks it's kind of funny, and he's like, "I'm glad I didn't shoot you. Glad I'm a bad aim."
She says, I'm glad too. And he eats some of the rabbit, and he says, "I don't know how much of the law is left." And he kind of takes his sword's really nasty by this point. There's like bits of teeth on it.
Brain matter.
He says, "I got four notches in my belt just over the past 2 days."
Hamish like shakes his head. He's like, "You killed the constable and his men?" He seems surprised.
He just nods somberly.
He's like, "Interesting." He's like, "Well, can't say I'm grieved about it." And he just like shrugs and he's like, "So what do you want with me?"
He says, he kind of has a conversation with him and tries to make the point that, there's always going to be somebody to step into place, and if we take out the law, more toughs and scoundrels are just going to step up. He's going to say we need to take the bandits out once and for all, and then hopefully the house that is entitled to this land will be able to take its place. He kind of asked some questions about the Cloverwood house as well. He's trying to shore up his knowledge there and see, like, are they really good? And they've just been kind of death by 1,000 cuts from these bandits, or are they a bunch of lowlifes?
Hamish sighs, and he's like, well, they were good. I used to fight for Lord Cloverwood, well, the Lord's father, who was the Lord until he died. He's like, this Lord, well, he killed his older brother to take the seat in North March. It was a fight over a woman, they say. He just shrugs, and he's like, whatever it was. In the last 6 months, there's been more bandits here than I can ever remember. In the last 2 years, it started bad. And he was just like, shook his head. And he's like, I don't know much about this Lord, but he's not doing us any favors down here, nor in North March either.
So he takes his sword out and he just plants it down and he says, so first we hamstring our enemy, then we go for the throat. So he kind of proposes that they try to take out the bandits next. Then after that, the bad elements of House Cloverwood really won't have a military arm to push people around with.
He shakes his head and he's like, the bandits are one thing, but a noble house? He's like, I don't know. The best way, if you ask me, would be to work from the inside. And he just shrugs. He's like, I'm known to them. But first, I tell you this. You help me kill these bandits, and then I'll help you gain favor in North March, and we'll both eat well and perhaps help these people in a way we couldn't as vigilantes.
Joyce is persuaded by this. He's a bit younger man. He's really a little bit brash. He's one to use his sword quite quickly, so he says, agreed. And he holds out a greasy rabbit grease hand to give a handshake.
Hamish reaches out with his lunchbox fists. And
Guy's huge.
Shakes your hand, and he's like, then we should be going. First light.
At first light.
We ride.
This is a good system. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So you guys drink the mead, and Pate passes out quite quickly. And so the next day comes. And hold on one second, because my baby's squirming. Babies are weird when they sleep with their ass up. It's just like they're like this. It's funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I just see his butt. Anyway.
Our new ones just can't even roll over yet, so he just lays there.
Yeah. That's easy.
He's easy. You always scare me when you say, like, how they want to turn. But.
Okay. All right, so the next day comes, and...
Is there anything... sorry to interrupt,
go ahead. Yeah, you're fine.
Is there any, like, spare weapons or armor or anything for Pate?
He does not have anything, but you could have... We can say you took stuff off the constables. Now, their armor doesn't fit him, but you can give him their swords.
Okay.
The sword is huge for him, and he like fumbles around with it, and he might end up killing himself before he kills anyone else. But
I do that, or I could give him my dagger, something he can use.
Okay, dagger's better for him since he's so small. He's obviously been malnourished all his life, so
we got to get him some protein.
Yeah, he's had rabbit. He's probably gonna poop bad today. All right. So are you good to go ahead?
I'm good.
All right.
I think.
All right. So Hamish doesn't know where this is, or he would already been there trying to kill these guys. So Pate has an idea of where they are in the mountains, and he brings you to basically a trail that leads up, that you're not going to be able to bring your horse with. So you're going to have to go on foot. So as you proceed up the trail, eventually it goes probably, I don't know, a mile you probably travel up this trail, and then the trail splits to the left and to the right. And Pate shrugs, and he's like, I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's up here somewhere.
Okay. So, Joyce has pretty good survival, so can he tell which trail is more, like, heavily tread?
You can do, what's the thing here? Yep, you can roll survival for track. You don't have the specialty, but that's okay. You can roll 4. You get on him for survival. He gets.
It's 4 is survival, isn't it?
Yeah, he gets, but you get +1 because you're talented survival. So you get 4 keep 4 +1. Plus you actually get +2 because Hamish can help you. So 4K 4 +2.
So I also, like, before we get there, I want to, like, kind of stop short.
Okay.
And has any of them, like, actually been to the camp or no? No. Okay. That's shitty. It's awful.
That's a pretty bad roll, but good enough still. So you can tell that as you're looking at it, you can look. You're barely able to tell that your left path seems to be the one that is the most tread upon. So whatever that means.
He says he goes out to the ground and looks. He says, I think this is the way to go. If we're wrong, it's not my fault. I think this is the way to go.
Hamish is like, you lead the way, and he sits his battle axe on his shoulder and follows you up the mountain.
So he heads up there and he says, Hamish and Pate, do you guys know anything about these mountains? Anything we need to know about?
Hamish just shrugs. He's like, it's the beginning of the Dornish marches. There's been bandits here forever. Either Dornish or Stormlanders or the Reach. These are a hive of hiding places for bandits. But lately they've become more brazen, as I've said, coming down into the lowlands to raid and kill.
Very good.
So it's not nothing important, but okay.
All right.
So you come up on this path and you probably go another mile, and you hit a couple switchbacks, and you come across this part where you start turning around the mountain and going like around it, and the cliff, like the overhang, is to your right, and it's fairly steep with like a bunch of pine trees like beneath you. Like if you fell, you'd fall into the pine trees, but there's parts that you can see that you would go very far down, and so you don't want to fall down for sure. So as you come closer, you hear the sound of people. And 1 second. Shit. Shit.
I enjoy being a player.
Yeah, it's nice.
You just sit back and relax.
Yeah. Well, this is very easy for me too, because it's just me bullshitting pretty much. All right, so the three of you come upon what you assume is the bandit camp. You kind of peek around the corner and see 4 men sitting around a fire, and they're drinking and eating. First things first, roll stealth.
So let's see here.
I will actually let you roll survival instead.
So forage, orientation, I don't have anything, but I have talented, so it's a +1.
Mm-hmm.
So 4D +1.
Yep, 4d6 plus 1. Okay. So you, as far as you know, you don't make any noise. They don't make any signs that they've heard you. Hamish kind of stays in back because he knows he's loud, and Pate is kind of up next to you and watching. He's like, I feel better with Hamish here, but this is still not going to be easy.
Yeah, he says he kind of creeps forward and looks at the camp, and is there any way you can like make a plan using warfare? Or?
So yeah, roll warfare. Okay. So what you can tell, okay, so this camp is basically on the side of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And on one side of the camp is the drop off. And you can't tell exactly what's down there, but like you know that it's a pretty good fall regardless. On the other side, they back up into the mountain, and it looks like there's a little recess into the side. It could be a cave. It could just be a little, just a little overhang there. But there's definitely like loose rocks above there that look like it could fall if enough force was planted on it. You can't tell if that trail went up. You didn't see any other trails that went up. You could probably go up off a trail and try to get up there, but that might be difficult. It's fairly steep up that way, and it doesn't look like nobody's ever went up there as far as you can tell.
I'll maybe interrupt.
No, you're fine.
So, like on the far end of the camp, there's like a drop off.
Yep,
on the trail going up, like to overlook that trail is kind of tough. Is that
so there is okay. So overhead. So there's a drop off on one side, and then on the other side of the camp, it looks like it's either a cave or some sort of like just overhang. Mm-hmm. And so, but going up the mountain, there wasn't a trail to get up there. But there were it does look like there's a lot of loose rock up there, but you just don't know if you could get up there to do anything about that because there's no trail up there. You'd be going over pretty steep terrain in armor, and so you're not sure if you could access that area. The camp itself is basically a circle with a couple tents and. But not really much else. Just a few tents and a couple rocks and fallen logs.
There's 4 guys sitting around the fire, but
yep.
I don't know how many are in the tents and stuff.
Yeah, you don't see anybody in the tents that you can tell. Your vision's not. Roll awareness notice. How about that?
It's probably a penalty since it's day though, isn't it?
It is day. Yep, midday. So you roll 4, keep 3. Okay, so you're able to, you're pretty sure that there's no other people in the tents, from what you can tell and hear and that sort of thing.
Okay, like how does archery work in this? Like, would there be time to like open up with that and then switch to my melee weapon, or?
You could. It would take you a turn to do that, but yeah, you
far enough away.
Yeah, you need to be far enough away and use marksmanship instead of fighting, but yeah. And your marksmanship, I think, is 3.
I don't want to be the guy that looks at the sheet that much, so.
Yep, I'm looking. It's 3. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'd hate to do it, Pate. Pate, I need to use you as bait.
Pate is like, is this what's being your squire is going to be about? Because if so, I might as well just head down the hill.
Actually, you know what? He double thinks it. And he's like, you're right. It's time for you to fight by my side. I'm not going to use you as a tool anymore.
He's like, good.
So he's like, stay by me. And he turns to Hamish. He says, you're a pretty intimidating fellow. I'm gonna find cover, try to take one of these guys out with my bow, and as soon as they get hit, you're gonna come out of cover, and hopefully you can draw their attention, and I'll come up from behind them and launch a surprise attack.
Hamish is like, get to shooting because I'm going to go kill these guys. He's not going to wait. So no, I mean, you shoot now or he's charging in unless you can talk him down.
He says, good. He says, let's go avenge your family. So he makes his way as swiftly as he can around to the flank and lines up a shot on one of these guys.
Okay. So just tell me which one you want to shoot.
Are they all the same, or?
There's one guy with a sword, one guy with a bow, one guy with an axe, and one guy with a spear.
Let's shoot the guy with the bow.
Okay. So you can aim. So go ahead and roll 4.
Obviously do that.
Yep. So you can do roll 4, keep 3.
Pretty good.
That's very good. Let's see what your damage is with that bow. Pretty terrible. Okay, so 2. So basically, you get out your shitty bow, which you use to shoot game with, and you shoot, and it's a decent shot. Hits the guy in the back, and he rocks forward. But you notice that he's got like some sort of hard leather on, and if it did anything, it did very little to him. And he's just like, what the fuck? And he turns around, and it kind of gives your position away, and they all hop up. So let's do initiative. I'll give you that shot for free. So go ahead.
So how are you gonna run Hamish and Pate? Just as NPCs?
You can run them if you want.
Oh, yeah, you can run Hamish. You can run Hamish. Pate probably won't do much, but
yeah, I wasn't actually. I was gonna like have him give you a bonus or something.
Yeah, like he's kind of sneaking around, like swiping at him or something.
So I'll give you a +1. Yeah, +1. I had to adjust their stats for Hamish because.
So he kind of, Joyce kind of looks at his bow and says, "I need to upgrade this thing."
He's like, "Take his."
He kind of puts on his back and takes out his sword. So agility.
Yep.
I probably don't get a +1 from him, do I?
No, you get 2d6 -2 because your armor.
Pretty heavily armored, though, I think.
Yeah, breastplate's pretty good. Oh my god.
I'm going last.
Hamish got a 6. You got a 1. Pate will go with you. These guys, I'm just gonna roll once. They go first. Okay, so immediately the archer returns fire at you. Okay. So your combat defense is 9. So that's 2 degrees of success. So he hits you for 8 damage. So you take 3 damage. So you have a total of, how much? 12, I think? Yeah. So you're down to 9 of 12. So here's one little thing with this system. So when you take too much damage, you can take an injury or a wound. Okay? So injury would negate all damage you took in one round, or from one hit. So if somebody hit you for 20 and you died, you could take a wound instead. A wound gives you a penalty of 1 dice, so you would keep 1 less dice. You can take an injury, which will reduce the amount of damage equal to your endurance. So if you have 4 endurance, which I think you do, that would take 4 away. And then an injury just gives you a -1 total. Okay? You can only take as many of those combined as your endurance score. Okay? And if you took like 3 wounds, you'd be so screwed it wouldn't matter, because you wouldn't be able to do anything. So keep that. I'll let you know if that situation comes up, but just to let you know.
Okay.
Okay, so the archer went. He shot you. So he basically shoots back, and he's a lot better shot than you, and he's got a better bow. And his arrow just like pops through your breastplate and sticks you in the chest, but not deep enough to be anything more than superficial.
I reach out and use the force to pull the bow from his grasp.
And the first Jedi in Westeros was born. Okay, so Swordsman charges at Hamish because he is humongous and they don't like him. So 17.
Oh, man.
So his defense is 6. So that's actually 3 degrees of success. So that's 12 damage minus 8. So he takes 4. So basically, Hamish isn't quite ready yet, and the guy just swings under his defenses and injures him. But Hamish like shrugs it off, as you would figure someone like that would. Who's next? Let's see. Sorry. This is making sure something. Yeah, he's got 14. Okay. So 10 to 14. So the Axeman comes after you now. And he rolls 11 versus 9. So the Axeman comes up and he swings at you, and you take your shield and parry it with the shield. And the last guy, so that's Axe. Last guy is the Spearman, and he basically puts a charge on Hamish, charges at him, and just like jabs at him. 14 minus 6, 8. So that's 2, so he hits him for 8 minus 8. So he basically stabs at Hamish, and the end of the spear like goes into his arm, but Hamish just grabs it with his free hand and yanks it off. Doesn't look like it actually got through his Brigadine armor. And so it is Hamish's turn. So he looks at the guy with the spear and just kind of starts laughing. And he's like, "You made a mistake."
Yeah. Oh.
So Hamish, just like with the guy at the spear, just reaches up with his axe and just comes down in a vicious chop and just cleaves him from his throat down to the middle of his chest, and he kicks the corpse off the end of his axe, and he just goes flying back in the fire. And he screams for a couple seconds, and then he's just dead, and you could just smell the charred remains of flesh. It's your turn.
So I have the Axeman next to me.
Yep, Axeman's next to you.
So I'm gonna say, I'll say, Pate, get around my flanks. I'm gonna just take my sword and try to distance the Axeman from me. Go after him.
All right, so go ahead and roll your fighting. You get an aim with that, and then add a +1 for Pate.
So it's gonna be.
So you roll 5d6. I'm sorry, 6d6 keep 4 +1.
4 + 1.
Okay, so Pate kind of gets around him, and he actually swings his dagger and cuts the guy in the calf, and the guy's like, "God damn it!" And he swings and just like knocks Pate to the ground with his backhand, but as he's doing that, you just come down and just cut him across the stomach, and his guts just spill out of his belly, and he falls to his knees screaming in awful agony, and he just kind of sits there stuck on his knees in front of you as his eyes like roll back in his head. And you kick him, and he folds over backwards awkwardly, and you step over him victorious.
I take a piss in his mouth.
And the guy shoots you in the dick.
That was like the, what was it? Who was it? Is it Sam or Pippin that got the Nazgul and the...
Mary. That was Mary, wasn't it?
Mary?
Yeah.
Mary
Yeah, I think his name was Mary. Okay. Let's see.
So Axe is gone.
Axe is definitely gone. He is dead. So the archer, looking slightly panicked, takes a good aim at you and fires. So he fires, and this time you're more ready as you step over and you bring your shield up at the last second. It deflects off and it just grazes your hair, but doesn't hit you. And the swordsman attacks Hamish, and again he hits, but so that's 15 minus 8, 7. So he cuts into Hamish very, very deeply, but Hamish is just like, he gets him in the hip, and Hamish just like pushes him away briefly and limps kind of forward, and then comes back with his counterattack, which is going to be death for that guy. And so he swings his axe, just kind of an uppercutting motion. You're not even sure if the blade hits, but the guy goes flying back at least 5 feet, hits the ground, and you can tell like his chin is cut in half through his jaw and split open. And Hamish just like goes over to the corpse and just gives it another chop in the chest, while that archer like is like basically about ready to run, but there's nowhere to go, leaving you to finish him off.
So I step over the corpse of this guy, my gory weapon covered with blood. Pate stands up after he's been backhanded by this douchebag guy. As I say, I lay down the law and says, "You're the only one left. You're going to be the last one to die. Kill this man's family. I'm going to give him the honor."
The guy's like, I surrender. And he drops his axe, or his bow. He's like, you got to protect me from this freak. He's a freak.
I'm sure that's what Hamish's family said too.
And Hamish is like, I don't need this, and he just like drops his axe and goes and reaches and grabs the guy by the throat and just like pins him to the ground and just like chokes him. And the guy's like hands and arms are like wiggling and trying to push Hamish off. He's like pushing his chin, and he's just like bearing down, and you can tell like Hamish's face is reddening and just anger, and he's not breathing. He's just like squeezing the guy, and you get the guy convulses and then stops, and he just like keeps like squeezing for like a couple more minutes, and then he just starts punching the guy in the face until his face is just like no longer recognizable, and he finally gets up, picks the guy up, and throws him off the cliff into the ravine below.
And Joyce and Paige just kind of go up to the ravine, and they don't say much. He doesn't make a joke out of it. He just kind of nods his head.
And Hamish turns to you and slaps you on the shoulder and grabs your hand, and he's like, I can never repay you for what you've done here today for me.
He says, just, we all three of us, he looks around, we stick together, we'll make this right.
Hamish nods, and he's like, good. We should probably hang low for a while and head back to Northmarch and see if we can convince someone to take us into their employ and change this place for the better.
He's in agreement.
Okay. So you head down the ravine, and Hamish is limping a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's going to affect him too long. You got through scot-free, and Pate's going to have like a busted lip and a black eye, but otherwise you guys head down the mountain, and you get back to your horses, and you take off, riding into the sunset. And I think that's it.
I cut off one of the penises of the bandit to wear as a necklace. Just kidding. Cool,
You
man.
should.
That's fun.
Oh, thanks. No,
That's
thanks
good.
for playing.
Good for off the cuff.
Yeah, well, this is like, let me stop the recording, but
If you have one player too,